The original 7 years of age originated in Catholicism. He identifies immoral human behavior or habits. There are 7 main categories, but here's what you'll never guess: the protagonists of SpongeBob SquarePants. It's a perfect fit for a primordial 7. The first is Patrick's laziness. The definition of laziness is evasion and procrastination of work and responsibilities. It often manifests itself as doing nothing, not putting effort into anything and refusing to take action. Even in friendship episodes. Did he really get an award for doing nothing? He just sleeps on his back at home. And a surprising amount of food. Even the house is made of sand. That proves he wasn't at any risk. He has no job and no responsibilities in life. Everything depends on the little sponge in exchange. Next up is Squidward's representative rage. Anger is defined as because of injury or an emotional response to dissatisfaction. Squidward's negative emotions in the story. It's like an insane amount. It usually shows impatience, cynicism, and having lived too long. He was grumpy and full of complaints, always living in pain and pity. He dreamed of a future of fame and fortune, and have been working hard to reach that point. But unfortunately, all his efforts ended in disappointment. Especially his neighbor Sponge. It was effortless. He succeeded in what he was supposed to be good at. His life seemed like a slime. There's a saying in Batman: your anger gives you great power, but if you let it go he will destroy you. Squidward doesn't know how to control his anger. That's why his life just keeps getting worse. Simply put, no one wants to be Squidward. Sandy corresponds to the 7 most arrogant. Generally speaking, being proud of yourself doesn't. What's the problem? Having confidence is actually a good thing. But if irrational feelings of superiority over others, thus not acknowledging the achievements of others, excessive worship of one's image or self, that is wrong. In this episode, he kept arguing with the staff around him. Consider. Land life must be much better than sea life. And his self-esteem is very strong. No one is allowed to criticize everything around him. So when little Sponge and Patrick said Texas was stupid, Sandy exploded. The 7 sins corresponding to Boss Sia are greed. The definition of greed is excessive pursuit and desire for wealth and material things. This one needs no explanation. As long as you've seen SpongeBob SquarePants, I'm sure I can understand. Sia Boss in the end how much value money. There was even an episode. He's selling the soul of a little sponge, and they are very hard on their employees. Even breathe with your mouth open, and take a penny off their wages. The top 7 boss sins are jealousy. Extreme is defined as dissatisfaction with the material or spiritual possessions of others. It's clear Plankton is jealous of Sia Akin's success. They used to be best friends, but because of the existence of the Sia Bao formula, Plankton trying to ruin Shikin's life all the time. Because in his heart, the two of them invented delicious shabu together. But Shiakin took him by himself. He is often looked down upon. Was a small sponge a few people wantonly tease. Even his childhood was not a happy one. So he was desperate to prove himself. So dominating the world became his biggest dream. Which lives with him in the family corresponds to the top 7 binge eating. Binge eating is defined as excessive pursuit and craving for food. Anyone who's seen SpongeBob knows that. How good the appetite is at home. So good that I almost choked myself to death once. Even once. He ate a year's worth of Sponge's food. Although we both love food, but still, strong restraint. The only person you hurt in the end is yourself. Finally, the little sponge represents desire. The definition of desire is any kind of excessive love for another person. He loves his job, even in the face of injustice. He also loved his so-called friends. Even for someone who hates him as much as Squidward, he blindly believes that everyone will treat him well. Sometimes his efforts are not rewarded. He tried to please almost everyone. But that's exactly how it works. To make him more consistent with the characteristics of desire. He wanted so much. But we all have these flaws. In life and at work. Because that's what true humanity is all about. At the same time, it is because of these defects that makes us individuals, so that we can remember them. Distinct role. In a nutshell, what may seem like a weakness can also be a strength. We can embrace ourselves to the fullest. And all of my imperfections, because this kind of self is the real self.